Hey, Marchus Annus, and everyone watching. My name is Elijah. My pronouns are he, him, his. And this is my Marchus Annus video. Apologies in advance if you can hear dogs whining in the background. I just put my dogs in their crates, so the puppy's a little whiny. Anyways, for Marchus Annus, I decided I was going to work on my art skills. I'm not an artist in any way, shape, or form. The stick figures are about as good as I'm really good at. I did a little bit when I was younger, and I didn't really feel like I had the talent for it. Um, and I did try, but I decided this time I was gonna try again. This time, I decided I was gonna use actual like references, and like instead of just trying to draw anything and everything, I was gonna focus on like one thing at a time. So, in this case, I focused on a character from Pokemon Sword and Shield. Happened to be Piers. So, anyways, I did, actually, there ends up being about 15 sketches here. So, from the top. So, this is the first sketch I did. I used references for most of these. This one was done on March 5th. And so I just did this in 10 minutes. I was using a reference, and I kind of liked how this turned out. It was pretty good for a first attempt, you know. Uh, this was my second day. I did this on March 6th. I was doing all of these while I was at work, so that's why I didn't do one every single day. So again, I used a reference. He has just a weird range of expressions. It's pretty hilarious. I liked this, and you can kind of see where I started to do a little bit more with his hair. He has really spiky hair. Day 3. Again, used a reference. This is younger Piers, and I wasn't a huge fan of like how his expression and stuff turned out, but I mean, it is what it is. I also tried to do some free practice. It did not end up going so well. Day 4, and I will revisit this one actually. This was the first time I did a sketch that was longer than 40 minutes. I used a reference. The hands, so this was the only part where I didn't actually use a quote-unquote reference, because I took screenshots from the game and I redrew them. So this in his hand here, that's not really how they were posed in the screenshot. I changed that part. But you can kind of see, like, I started drawing in the jacket, and I put a few more details on there. It's still not as spiky as he actually is. Day 5. This was the first sketch I did that I was actually really proud of. So it was 30-minute sketch. It was a 30-minute sketch, and then I spent a little longer cleaning it up, doing some details. I was kind of proud of how his hand turned out here, because hands are really difficult to draw. I got some more detail on his jacket, and this was the first time you can actually see the hair spikes coming up, because he has really stupidly spiky hair. And then there's also spikes on his jacket too. The microphone was also a fun thing to draw, because there's a skull on it. Why not? Day 6. This was a screenshot redraw again. And you've got 45 minutes, because you can see I did a lot more of his body as opposed to just like torso up. The angle is weird. I can't really get the hang of drawing angles here. You're gonna have to excuse all the stuff that's on my kitchen table. I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of room here. So yeah, the angles and stuff was still really difficult for me, but I think it's all right for my 6th piece, and I'm just taking forever to turn the page. So my 7th day, March 14th, was entirely focused on practicing hands. So I do like how this one turned out, and this was interesting. This came from a really weird screenshot. It will be revisited in glorious failure later on. And I do like how the hands turned out here. They are still really, really hard to draw, and I dislike them. But, just I keep working at them and I get it done. Whoop. Day 5. Again, another screenshot redraw. I love picking, I'm glad I picked Piers because he has a very wide range of expressions. So he has very dynamic expressions, very dynamic poses. So I was listening to an Ashbury Heights song while I was drawing this, and I feel like it's a great band for him to just jam out to. So this one took about an hour, and I am pretty proud of how it turned out because I got a little bit more shading done. So like the interior of the jacket is not as dark as his hair, for example. And for the most part, I liked how his lone visible hand turned out. But okay, I'm really there we go. Day 9. So this was the first and actually only piece of fan art that has color in it, and this was also the first piece that I did where it wasn't actually a screenshot redraw. So the idea was he's tying his hair up in his zigzagoon tails. It was supposed to be a mirror shot, so everything we saw was supposed to be flipped, like he was looking in the mirror, and you can kind of see where that was supposed to happen with the outline of the mirror here. But then I realized after I had finished getting his hair just how I wanted it, that this is how his hair is oriented normally, and if he was looking in the mirror, it should be over his other eye. So I just decided, screw it, and I just decided it was fine as is. I used some references just to figure out the pose of his arms, but that was pretty much it. Everything else was pretty much just out of my own dome piece. So the signature here and the skull came from his in-game league card. So this actually took me about 2 days to do because I was, again, at work. And it was 4 hours that I took altogether on this piece. 10, another piece of just fan art that came out of absolutely nowhere. This one, I don't like how his hands turned out at all, what are proportions even. But here he is, drinking his Respect Women juice. Oh my God. So anyways, I adore his relationship with his sister, and I just thought, like, this was perfect for him. I didn't do any more detailed stuff, like no shading and whatnot, but I figured this was all right for a pretty good attempt. Day 11. Day 11. Yeah, this was just an utter failure. Yeah, I gave up about 20 minutes in because I couldn't figure out, like, how his face was, and, like, I was looking at a screenshot, and I still couldn't figure this out. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. I decided to the one thing I did like about this was that I got some shading done on his ear that I liked. But yeah, the pose, as I annotated in my notes here, the pose was challenging, his expression was weird, and hands are still awful to draw. So there's that. That was on the 22nd. The 24th, day 12. This one was something else that I nearly gave up on, but I did stick with it, and it ended up turning out pretty well. And the reason I almost gave up on it is because this area here was very, very difficult to kind of figure out what was going on in the screenshot itself. So that's why. And I just I made my best guesses. Like, I'm pretty sure this part it's supposed to be his arm. At least that's what I made it to be. And if I had the screenshots, I would show you. Day 13. I was legitimately very pleased with how this one turned out. Like, very, very pleased. Again, a screenshot redraw. I was very, very happy with his hands here. I changed up his hair is a little different, and the skull on his microphone stand is a little different. But I was just listening to music, and I was in the groove, and it was great. And I gave him a couple of piercings, and then there's a little tattoo here, and this is supposed to be some tattoo decorations here. Not a huge fan of the tattoos, how they turned out, but I mean, I completely was spitballing with that, so that's to be expected. This one. So this was actually a redraw of day 4. And I'm gonna go back to day 4 real quick. Here's day 4 versus day 14. I think that there was a drastic improvement here. So you can already see like just over 14 over 14 sketches. This has only really been about 3 weeks. There's already been a drastic improvement in my skill, and I gave him a tattoo here that actually matches kind of a tattoo that I have on the same spot. Sorry about the weird angles. But yeah, I can already see, like, looking at this, I have improved a lot. So this is the second to last piece that I did. Um, so this is the very last one. This one, I used some basic sketches, but this was also not a screenshot redraw. Um, I There's also a lot of detail that's missing, and I want to revisit this at some point. Not for Marchus Annus, for something completely different, just for my own personal, enjoyment. I want to revisit this, redraw this, make it a little bit better. I like how his hand turned out here. Here, not so much. Proportions are still weird for me, but he's holding up one finger to annotate Unus Annus, 1 year, and that's all we have, just a year, and he's reminding us of that. So, yeah, that was pretty much it. You can tell I was listening to a lot of like alternative metal music at the time when I was drawing this, and then I'm very pleased with how it turned out, and a lot of punk. So that's what happened with my Marchus Annus, and I'm happy that I did this. Like, legitimately, I obviously didn't do it every day. I started late, and I started late because I watch all of my YouTube videos at work, because there's a lot of downtime at work. So I just leave all my videos for, when I'm not home, or when I'm home, I don't watch them, and then when I'm at work, that's when I watch them. So I didn't actually see the I didn't actually see the Nutball Extreme video until March 5th, which was obviously 4 days late. So that's why I didn't start until when I did. But like I said, I'm very glad I did it, and I needed to work on my art anyways because I am designing a video game, and that's going to take a lot of my art skill. So I'm really glad that I did this, and thank you guys so much if you made it through all 13 minutes of this. Have a good April. Bye.